Today we're making a woven boho bag here on GoodKnit Kisses. We're using a triangle loom.
Welcome to GoodKnit Kisses. We're all about helping you stitch your love and love your stitches.
Today's bag is made from a series of triangles. You can knit or crochet, but today we are going to weave on a triangle loom. So if you'd rather knit or crochet, you can absolutely make those triangles, and I'll show you how to stitch them together. It's going to be like this with a little V in the middle and then stitch it together at the top. So it's nice and generous, about 20 inches wide by 20 inches high. The shorter part in the middle is about 10 inches. You can wear it over your shoulder, and it has a nice generous bag for your projects, or even take it to market. You can make it in 2-color like I've done, or even this little 3-color bag and add some fringe at the bottom. All right, let's get into your supplies. You're going to need a triangular loom. I've got it on an easel. It's 2 feet across the top and 50 nail heads or pegs or pins, whatever you want to call them, at the top. To get your loom supplies, be sure and click on the link down below to get that. You're also going to need your yarn. I'm using 2 colors, and you'll need 2 balls of each. If you want a 3-color design, you just need 1 ball of each. I'm using Red Heart Sheep in color Poolside and Green Tea, and I've got these off to the side. This is a worsted weight number 4 yarn. For the rest of your tools, you'll need scissors, a bent tapestry needle, a wide tooth comb, and a crochet hook or a longer Tunisian hook like I'm using.
For the first triangle, we're going to work with both colors. So grab 1 strand of each and put them in your bowl off to the side. Grab both strands of both colors and make a slip knot and place it on your first peg or pin. And I'll refer to the numbers going from the outside in, and then this is the upper part and this is the lower part. So you're going to start at peg 1, and we're going to stretch the yarn all the way across to peg 1 on the other side and go around the outside of peg 1 and 2. So we're going to go underneath these pins and go all the way across. And then down around peg 1 and 2, and then stretch it all the way back. And then we're going to go around, or we're going to go between peg 2 and 3, and up between 1 and 2, and then go up around peg 2. And we're going to be pulling downward. We're going to be using our hook now. So I can leave this and grab my hook. You're going to go over this lower strand and under the next set of strands. You're going to go around both at the same time. So make sure that yarn is going around there like that, and pull it through. And then make sure to not twist it and hook it on the 3rd peg down. So 1, 2, 3, you're going around. You got both strands, and now you're going to take your hook and put it in this open spot here and drag it down. Just let this part be loose and go hook it on peg 3 down here. Okay, and you can let that go. And now we're going to go around peg 2 up top like that. And now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go over and under and over, and we're going to grab this yarn, both strands, and pull down and place it on peg 4. And now we're going to take our hook and then pull this loose yarn across and leave this top part loose and just pull it right across and hook it on the parallel peg, which is peg 4, just like that. And so now you've got it starting to weave across so you can see how it is going every other strand here. Now we're going to do it again. We're going to go over this first string, under, over, under. You're going to yarn over, pull that yarn around and down through, and then hook it on that peg. Make sure and untwist it if you've twisted that loop, and hook it, and then leave your hook there and just drag it down and hook it across. Just like that. And so for a slower video, you can consult my video on how to make a triangle, and I've got a right and left-handed version. Go ahead and continue making your entire triangle, get that last strand, and when you're done, stop before you cut it and pause your video. I'll meet you there. See you soon. Okay, so now that I've got my ending here, I'm ready to cut it off. So I'm going to pull out enough to where it will go along one of these sides here, like this, and I know it's about that long. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that, and then I can just pull this part out, and then you can even it out with your comb and that kind of thing. So after you comb this all out and you get it the way you want it, then push it all the way straight down. And you want to go ahead and lock this tail in here. So take your crochet hook and this bottom strand right down here where these two are, and you're going to pull up some of this here into a loop, this tail, and then now you've made a loop, and pull through your tail. Okay, and now it's nice and locked in. Okay, just like that. And we're going to leave it on here, push it all down, and go ahead and pick up your two strands of your blue, and you're going to create another triangle right on top. So go ahead and put that tail down over here and create another triangle. Pause your video, I'll meet you back up, and we're actually going to stitch it together along this edge together. See you soon. Once you finish the blue, you're going to pull through enough so that you have some to stitch through both of these loops along this side, and you're going to use your tapestry needle and whip stitch it through. And so you want to pull out enough, probably about 1.5 times this amount, or a little bit longer, and go ahead and clip your yarn. So I've already pulled that through. I'm going to clip that and pull this one out. Go ahead and use your hook and loop it through like we did the last time so that it's nice and secure, and pull through a loop and then go through that so it's secure. All right, I'll pull it right on through. Okay, and then we want to take one strand from this side and set it aside with the green. And you can kind of just put like a little loose knot to set it aside. And we're going to use that for sewing later. And then we're going to take these two with our tapestry needle and use those to sew through this side. And if the other one is a little short, that's okay, because you're really just weaving in the tail at the same time. But I don't want you to have too many strands that you're stitching together. So go ahead and weave these on through. You're just going to go down through both stitches and go down and around, and then go down and around again on the next one. Okay, so we're going to go down through each of these holes here, these stitches. So we've already got this one which doesn't have one, and so we're going to go to the second stitch here, go through all of the layers. So leaving this other strand aside, so I'm just kind of holding it. So now that I've gone through all of these strands here, we're just going to go down to the next one. And having the bent tapestry needle works really well because you can see it kind of coming out. All right, so then I've got that one, and we're just going to keep going. And you're going to go all the way till the end, and then you'll just leave the tail long after you're done. Just go through all the stitches, and then you're going to go on to the next part. Pause your video, and I'll see you in a moment. After you've sewn this in, you're going to want to push this all down all the way around, because we're going to make a third triangle right on top, so make sure this is pressed all the way down. After you make the third triangle in the main color, this is the green, we're going to sew, just like we did on the other side, this edge here. So go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what we have, and then we'll do the next part. See you in a moment. All right, we finished our third triangle, and now we're going to stitch together along, we stitched together before this side, now we're going to stitch this side, just the third triangle and the second triangle, so not the bottom one. And we're going to make sure this is knotted in and weave in with these tails here. If it's easier, you can weave these in first and then sew these in. So we're just using our tapestry needle and going through the second and the third layer, but miss the bottom. If you think that you can't do that, then you can go ahead and take all of it off of the loom and sew it in afterward. So I'm gonna finish stitching this all up, and you'll see exactly how they'll get sewn together. Pause your video and I'll see you in a moment. Once you've finished sewing up the sides, you're just going to start removing the triangles from the loom. So I just use my little comb or pick here and just grab all the layers, you know, a little at a time or a lot at a time, and I just remove them all along one side and then along the opposite and then the third. So that's it. Pause your video and I'll see you when you've got this off the loom. See you soon. So you can see I started taking all the sides off the loom, and then I've taken this part down, and you can see the two triangles together, and then take this one off, which is the second one we did, and you can see where my extra ends are here, and I can just cut those now. And then once we take this off the loom, you can see that this solid blue part is actually going to be the bottom of the bag. So what you want to do is finish taking this off the loom, and then you've got to make another one. So you'll make this again. You can also make 3 and then stitch them together on those sides and pick which one you want in what place. You can also make them all solid as well. So go ahead and make 2 of these, and then we're going to stitch them together in the bag. All right, pause your video and I'll see you in a moment. I've made my second set of triangles. I'm about to stitch this last part in, but I want to show you this part up here. You see these extra strands? Okay, so this is a little bit of problem solving. If you find that you have a knot in your work and it goes right in the middle, just cut the strands up here, tie a knot where the nail head is, and then continue running your strands along. And then you can take your bent tapestry needle and sew in the ends. Now, I should have done that well, I'm weaving it in, sewing it in, whatever, just to the edge of the color that you have. I should have done that on the blue section, and I didn't. But once I pull this off, I can just weave them in as normal. So that way there's no interrupted work here with knots in it. All right, go ahead and finish making yours. Pause your video, I'll meet you back for assembly. See you soon. All right, so now that you have your triangles, you've got 1, 2, 3, you've got them sewn together here and here. They were on the loom, or you can do them separately. Then you're going to weave in your ends with your tapestry needle. Okay, so weave in all those ends, and then get your second one and place it on top. And then you're just going to stitch together the sides. You're going to start at this upper corner here. Make sure those are stitched together real well. You're just going to do a whip stitch, okay, and go all the way around to the corner, reinforce that, go all the way around the bottom. This is the bottom of the bag, to this corner, and then up, and then stop, and you're going to leave this V-shape opening totally open. You can actually go and whip stitch around the edge here and firm that up, or add any kind of trim that you like. And then you'll take these corners here, okay, and you're just going to connect them and just stitch them together. So in a moment, I'm going to show you what my bag looks like. See you soon. All right, so this is me assembling. I'm just putting it in along the tip there with my extra strand of yarn. I recommend in just one strand. I mean, you could do 2, one of each color, and have this sort of fancy twisted stitch around the edge, but it is going to be seen because it's a whip stitch. So pull through a nice length and leave about a 6-inch tail. And then we're going to go from the back side to the front and then around again to kind of lock it in that same stitch there on the tip. And just pull through your whole length using your tapestry needle, of course. And then the very next stitch, you go on to where it had looped around that nail head, and then you have that very long strand that went along the edge. So you're going to go through that part on the back and then the same part on the front. So the nice part is all those stitches are nice and aligned. It gives you a nice even edge without having too much of a hard seam on the inside. So you want to go carefully through those loops there. They're actually pretty easy to see, and just pull all the length. You know, as you go along and you get a lot more stitches, you don't want to pull too snugly and tight because it is a long continuous strand, but you can reinforce when you get to the next corner. You can go through that corner stitch a couple of times just to make sure and secure it in.
But yeah, just go along and do that. If you feel like you need to go back down and around again, you can certainly do that. I only went around one time. So I started on one area, which will end up being one side of the handle, and go around and stop at the other side of the handle. And then you overlap them just like here, and it's just by about an inch. And I just stitched where the two parts come together, and you see how it makes a nice handle here, and you see it hanging there. You've got the V part, which is the opening, and looks really nice. So then you just throw it around your arm and take it on the go. Thanks for joining us today, where we help you stitch your love and love your stitches. See you again soon.